In this lecture, this is a high frequency, multiple choice, and free response question area. So pay close attention to each little thing because you'll notice that a lot of it will show up in either your test bank or the free response question. What I'm going to try to do in this lecture is to point out those things and where they fit. First one is humanism. Huge. If you notice in your test bank, you will see a lot of questions that have the word humanism. You will also notice that in your free response question that you have for this chapter, the main subject is humanism. So pick out any little detail that you can. It's a scholarly study of Greek and Latin classics. This is why I had you read Allegory of the Cave, so that you have a background in the Greek. And one of the things of the Allegory of the Cave is it is a classic. And the ancient church fathers, in hopes of reviving worthy ancient values, it advocated studia humanitatis, which is liberal arts. Liberal arts, which is grammar, rhetoric, poetry, history, and politics, and philosophy, to celebrate the dignity of humankind and prepare for a life of virtuous action. And this is a kind of a key term here, virtuous action. This goes into ethics, what is good and what is bad. Italian humanists, and this is what you want to be careful about, because there's Northern and Italian humanists. So I'm underlining that to point out this is Italian humanists. Search out manuscripts collections, making volumes of Greek and Latin learning available to scholars. So what they did is they were almost archaeologists of Greek and Latin writings, and they would copy them out. Here's a picture of the Renaissance. It looks fairly early. It's called the Renaissance Garden, and you can see the fence posts in there. Notice the perspective. You can see out into the horizon on the particular picture. And it's a little bit more three-dimensional than medieval painting, which is known as the development of Renaissance art. This picture is extremely important. This is a picture of Catherine de Pizan, her waiting room, and these are all of the ladies that are attending to her or her friends in the picture. This is a great area of focus for the FRQ that has to do with the role of women in the Renaissance, because she wrote a very famous book. It was a revival of Greek studies, educational reforms guided by ideals of useful education and becoming a well-rounded person. That's where you get the term Renaissance man. It's a person who has knowledge of a lot of different subjects. The Florentine Academy was not a formal school, but a gathering of influential Florentine humanists devoted to reviving Plato, Allegory of the Cave again, and the Neoplatonists. Platonism is a flattering view of human reason as part of the ideal eternal world versus the real perishable world. Again, that's a reference again to Allegory of the Cave. Humanist critical scholarship, Lorenzo Valla, exposes donation of Constantine as a forgery. He does this, and this is one of your test questions as well. Renaissance art, another high-frequency topic. It embraced the natural world and human emotion. Its works are characterized, and these are descriptors: rational order, symmetry, which means it has balance on both sides, proportionality, and linear perspective, a 3D look. One very famous person of the Renaissance is Leonardo da Vinci. Look at the date. Just keep track of the dates. You don't need to memorize them, but have an around idea of who they lived. Lived in the Renaissance, and was ideal of the universal person. He was a painter, advisor to kings, an engineer. He was the first person to draw out an airplane. He's a physiologist, a botanist, etc. And he's the painter of the Mona Lisa. You can use that in your project. Raphael, another extremely important Renaissance painter, also Italian. He did Vatican frescoes. Fresco is a painting on a wall, and he did the School of Athens, which is a very famous picture, which shows a return to the Greeks. Michelangelo, another very famous person. He did an 18-foot sculpture of David. This is a picture that I've seen in a free response question, and this picture as well I've seen in a free response question. Okay, just to let you know why you're seeing all this yellow on the screen. Michelangelo also did the Sistine Chapel frescoes, and it's 2,000 square feet. He did it literally on his back on the ceiling. And it took 4 years to complete. This is a self-portrait of Albrecht Dürer. He is a Northern Renaissance painter. This is another picture by Albrecht Dürer. This is a picture by Raphael, and you can see the perspective in the background. A lot of Renaissance pictures have a woman with small children. This is Leonardo da Vinci. This is a perfect example of symmetry. This is Michelangelo. Again, this would be Italian Renaissance. And that's where we'll stop.